Hi, I'm Doug, your tech support representative here at Atlantic British. And in this video, we're going to touch base on spark plugs for your 03 to 05 full-size Range Rover, also known as the L322. We have the plugs available as a kit through our Maintenance and Repair Academy, which is also down on this sheet, which we'll show you is downloadable and printable from our website. And specifically for the 03 to 05, we have these plugs and they're matched for the vehicle. You have kit number NLP000030 and what you get is 8 Champion replacement spark plugs, which is the recommended plug for this vehicle. You'll see it has the tripod tip. It is a platinum, and you get the full set of 8. So it's a recommended every 60,000. If you do a lot of towing or put your vehicle through hard service, you might want to change them over a little bit earlier, say at about 50,000. Spark plugs generally do make a huge difference as far as engine performance and your fuel economy. So it's something that you want to stay on top of as far as your maintenance. So what we're going to do is go through and show you some tips on how you can change over the plugs on your own 03 to 05 full-size Range Rover. Alright, so what we're going to do is show you the basics on how to get to the spark plugs on your 03 to 05 L322. And we're going to start with just taking the engine cover off. I use a 5mm Allen with what I call a swivel ball end on it, so that the two in the back you can get to at an angle and still remove them. And they're only just a 90-degree turn, and they release. And we'll give it a little wiggle. Get that let go there. There we are. Alright, so up and out. So you can already see that gives you pretty good access to what you have underneath. It's nothing more than just a plastic shield. So now that we got the cover off, and you can see we've got good visibility here, there are, believe it or not, 2 small panels that you can pop out that are going to give you access to 2 bolts that remove this upper cover. You can just barely see the outline. If you slide a small screwdriver, you'll feel it pop into place. Push that in that little slot and lift out. And there's another one in the back. You do the same thing. You find your spot where it drops in and pop it out. So there's your 2 small bolt covers right there for your valve cover. Now we'll take a 10mm socket. And you can use 1/4 inch on these because these really aren't torqued in all that tight. Usually once you crack them loose, you can pretty much spin them out with your fingers. There's one. And when you take them out, it's always good. Put all your hardware in the same general area, so when you go looking for it to put the vehicle back together, you can find it. Just don't put it in a place where you're going to brush against it and knock it down into the engine compartment. Okay, so there's your 2 bolts. And we lift our cover up and out, and we'll just place it to the side. And there you are. You've got access right there to all your coils. Here's your 4 coils right here. And you've got essentially a lift bracket that disconnects the coil from the harness. And just get up underneath that, lift that. That basically unlocks the connector, and you can lift the connector up and off. So the only thing you need to do then to remove the coil, you got 2 nuts on each side of each coil. And again, what you usually generally need to do is crack them loose, and you can spin them off with your fingers. And again, just a little patience taking things off so that you don't drop them down below and turn it into a half-hour job trying to find a lost nut. Okay. And we're just going to grab the coil, and it's going to be a little tight, especially first time. These boots sometimes have a tendency to lock on. Now's a good time to be looking for several things. One, you might be looking for a white line or tracking on outside of the boot of the coil. Look for a lot of this. See this white buildup? That little bit there is fine, but if you have an excessive amount or a high amount, that's telling you it's ozone, something's burning in there, which means you don't have a good connection. You may want to replace this boot. Now you can see the spark plug itself is quite a ways down in there. And we're just going to take a long extension. Now, something I suggest, and I've had people ask me, is it better to remove the plugs when the engine's hot or if the engine's cold? Anytime you're removing either spark plugs or a bolt from something, from an aluminum housing or case, I recommend doing it cold. When it's hot or warm and all the threads are expanded, you have a chance of actually taking the threads right out of the aluminum when you're removing whatever it is you're taking out. In this case, we're taking the spark plugs out. You definitely do never want to change spark plugs when the engine is warm. Now we have approximately almost 100,000 miles on these spark plugs that are in this vehicle. You can see these are the original BMW, but they're an exact match for the Champions that we show you in the kit. Again, the 4-pin design. And you can see actually relatively this engine's running pretty well. So that's pretty much it. The process is the same all the way down the line. Each coil you're going to remove individually, remove a plug, put a new spark plug in, reassemble it just the opposite of the way you just saw me take it apart. The other side exactly the same. Nothing else to be taken apart. Easy access. So when you're ready to change the spark plugs over on your BMW engines 03 to 05 full-size Range Rover, also known as the L322, give a call to any of our knowledgeable salesmen at 1-800-533-2210. And thanks for watching.